I'm finally gonna show you how I color my hair at home under $30, depending if you have gray hair or not. If you have gray hair, it might be slightly more expensive. I'm coloring my hair for 10 years now. I got premature grays when I was, very young. Needed to start dyeing my hair when I was 20, and I've pretty much always done it at home. There's a few times where I went to the salon, but to be honest, I've been doing my hair myself for years and years. So if you want to know how I achieved this color, I like to call this color maybe like a dark cherry brown. I basically like my hair to look like a rich chocolate brown with a pretty heavy red undertone to it, like a warm red undertone to it. Also in this video, I'm going to show you how I completely cover my gray hair, because if you have gray hair, you know how difficult it is to completely cover it up, especially if your desired hair color is going to be like a warm color. If you want to see how I color my hair at home, definitely keep on watching. Covering grays can be quite difficult, but I have a pretty foolproof formula that's never going to give you hot roots. So number one, it's best to use a permanent color cream over a demi-permanent. A demi-permanent is not going to give you enough coverage for the grays. Second thing, if your desired hair color is a warm color, for the root formula, you need to add in a neutral or an ashy tone. So for the roots, half of my formula is always going to be the neutral color, and half of the formula is going to be my desired color. So for my neutral, I really like to use a 6 neutral, so a 6-0. This is going to help to not turn my roots orange, basically. If I was only to use the 5-7 and the 5-6, my roots would turn bright orange. And the reason why I'm using a level 6 for my neutral color and not a level 5 is because from personal experience, a neutral or ashy tone is always going to turn out so much darker than a warm tone, let's say. And so to prevent my roots from going too dark, I like to go down a level when it comes to my neutral color. Again, to ensure I get 100% gray coverage, I always use 20 volume developer. Again, because gray hair is really difficult to lift, you really need a 20 volume. A 10 volume is only meant to deposit color, but the 20 is going to lift the hair follicle so that your color can actually penetrate and completely cover your gray. The details of my formula are going to be listed below, but basically I always do equal parts color, equal parts developer. So I did 41 grams of color for 41 grams of developer. Also, if you do your hair at home, you need a scale. It was about $10 on Amazon, and honestly, it changed my life because it makes it so easy for me to calculate everything. I used to just eyeball my formula. Thankfully, it used to turn out fine, but at least this way, I'm sure that I get, the good measurements. So I start with the roots only, so I apply it. I try to be generous with my color. So again, I get 100% gray coverage as much as possible. So I like doing my hair every 3 to 4 weeks. Ideally, it would be every 3 weeks. Sometimes I let it get to a full month, and honestly, when it gets to that point, I just cannot stand my roots anymore. So doing my roots usually takes me 10 to 15 minutes, and in total, I need to let that color at my roots sit for 45 minutes to an hour. I'm not gonna lie, usually it goes up to an hour just because the rest kind of takes me a long time. But yeah, I just make sure that I saturate my whole roots really, really well. It's a little bit tricky to do the back, but nobody's seeing the back. I mean, I'm not seeing the back, so it's not my problem. So what's really important, it's not like the back is not as important, but for me, like the root is super important, because if there's a few gray hairs kind of missing, it kind of makes it seem like I have bald spots. So I really like to go in here and really make sure that all of my grays are well covered, because I have the most like here and like around my ear. And for all the dye here, I just grab like a cotton round, some micellar water, and it all goes away. So it's really not that big of a deal. To do the same on the other side, and I can work pretty quickly. I think this side took me maybe like 7 minutes to do, so it's not too time consuming. my color formula might change a little bit depending on my needs. So if you know anything about hair dye, red is a very difficult color to maintain, and so sometimes I feel like my hair is a little bit too red looking, and so in my formula I'm going to use a little bit less of the 5.7 and more of the 5.6 just to tone down the red a little bit, because red can also tend to lean a little bit purple the darker in levels that you go. Everything that I've learned about color, I've learned by personal experience. So from personal experience, when I dye my hair like a really dark color and I use a color that has the name red in it, it will usually lean more purple. So I try to stay away from colors that say red in the name. I go for more copper or like chocolate copper, because copper colors will lean more like a warm red opposed to a cooler violet tone red. So again, this is just what I've learned from personal experience. I've definitely in the past, I've used colors that leaned more purple. Like I've used the 568, which is a chocolate red, but that one on me leans quite purple. So if you like your hair to have more of a cooler, more violet reddish tone, I would definitely go for colors that say red or like violet red even, but violet red is probably gonna turn very purple. But if you want your hair to lean warmer, more of a natural looking red, I would stick with colors that say copper. Your hair is not gonna turn orange, it's gonna turn like a rich, warm reddish tone. So with hair you have 10 different levels, 1 being the darkest and 10 being the lightest. And the underlying pigments of the really dark colors, so for number 1, which is jet black, the underlying pigment is going to be blue. Then as you go down, so it's like a really dark purple, like violet, red. So the darker that you go in hair color, your underlying pigment is going to be, you know, red, but then it's going to turn to purple. So I find that when I go a little bit too dark with my hair, I don't really get the red anymore, I get more purple. That's something that you're going to see with your hair. If you go a little darker, your hair is maybe going to turn a little bit more purple if you use like a reddish tone. So okay, so now the fun part, the formula for the rest of my hair. So if you don't have any grays, you can actually use this formula on your whole head. So I start with the 5.7. Now when you look at my hair and when people ask me my hair color, this is kind of what you see. I used to only use 5.7 for years and years, and it gives me like that really beautiful kind of rich, coppery, really warm chocolate hair. But because I've been dyeing my hair the same exact color for years, you know, my hair was almost turning too red, and so in the last couple of years, I started adding the 5.6. 5.6 is more neutral leaning, you know, it's still a chocolate brown color, but it doesn't pull too red, and so that's why I like to add that in my formula. So some months, you know, I'll do equal parts of each, so 5.7 and 5.6, but some months, you know, my hair might look a little too red, so I'm going to use a little bit more of the 5.6, but some months I want a little bit more of the red, so I'll use more of the 5.7. So it really depends month to month. If you want to achieve my hair color but you're starting with hair that is a lot cooler than mine, I would recommend starting with the 5.7 only, because if you mix the two, it might turn a lot cooler than you were expecting. To be safe, I would recommend starting with the 5.7, and then if it's too warm for your liking, the next month you can always add in the 5.6 in your formula. But to start, if you want a lot of red tones kind of pulling in your hair, I would recommend starting with the 5.7. And as you saw, when I do the lengths of my hair, I only use a 10 volume developer because I'm only depositing color. I don't need to lift, and so a 10 volume is going to be just fine. Now for this part, I don't have a big technique, you know, I just put in gloves and I just kind of put it everywhere. I will sometimes add in a little bit of water in my formula. This is because I've been coloring my hair the same colors, you know, for every single month for a really long time now. So my hair is already fully saturated. If you're doing this color for the first time, I would not recommend putting in water in your formula. But that's what I do a little bit, just because it's a lot easier to like spread everywhere. And I will let that sit for about 15 minutes, yes, let's say 15, not 20. 20 is too long. And then of course I will do it on my eyebrows. And here we have the final result. Honestly, there's nothing in this world I love more than a fresh hair color. It just makes me feel so good. I feel like when my color is fresh, you know, it's dark, it's rich, it's still warm, but it's not too coppery orange. You know, at the end of the month when my color fades, it's too red for me, but this is just perfect. Even my hair like texture feels better. I love it. Something else I wanted to add is if you need to bleach before achieving this color. So obviously if your hair is any darker than mine and you want to achieve this color, you will need to bleach. You can't, you know, achieve a lighter color on darker hair. You definitely need to bleach. You can also do like a bleach bath. It might be a bit more gentle for your hair. So yes, if your hair is darker than mine and you want to achieve my color, you will need to bleach first. If you want like a warm undertone to your hair, it's gonna show up more if your hair is slightly lighter. So for me, I like my hair to look dark. This is as dark as I want to go, because if I went any darker, I feel like I wouldn't really be able to see any warmth in my hair. This is as dark as I will go, and to be honest, it's as light as I will go too. I've tried lighter hair colors, it just did not work for me. So I'm really happy with this color. I have been thinking of cutting down the redness in my hair a little bit, because sometimes I'll look at pictures and I'm like, oh, I'm full-on redhead. It really depends on the lighting. I mean, right now I feel like my hair looks like I'm a brunette, but sometimes with flash photo, I look like my hair is full on red. Even though I do love it, sometimes I'm like, maybe I want to look a little bit more natural. So we'll see. Right now, I'm really loving this hair color. But I mean, we'll see if I go back to more of a natural looking tone for my hair. We will see, but when I do switch it up a little bit, I will definitely show you. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my hair color. So I'm not a pro, but I really try my best to answer your questions when you ask me questions about hair color. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If I do anything different to my hair, I will definitely let you know. I kind of like to update you on my hair color on like TikTok and Instagram. So everything will be listed in the info box. For Canada, for the US, I'll put all the links. I hope this was helpful. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye.